Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to step into, the sounds and feel of an Indonesian market.
That's right, and our focus, it's all about bargaining. Specifically, we're looking at buying a pair of shoes.
Exactly. We've got this great little snippet from an Indonesian language lesson. It gives a really practical example.
It does, and our mission really is to unpack that interaction. We want to equip you with, a basic understanding of how this works day to day in Indonesia.
And maybe uncover some interesting cultural bits along the way.
Definitely. It's more than just words. It's about the whole social dance.
Okay, so let's get into this dialogue. We have Edie and Sipta. Edie kicks things off, asking, "Bu berapa harga sepatu ini?"
Which translates to, "Ma'am, how much are these shoes?" Straightforward enough.
And Sipta replies, 45.000 rupiah.
45,000 rupiah.
Now, even before the price hits, that boo ma'am stands out. That politeness.
Oh, absolutely. Using terms like boo, or as we'll see later, mass for brother, that's, it's often baseline politeness.
Right, not just nice, but kind of expected.
Yeah, especially in a market. It helps build a quick rapport, which, can actually be part of the whole bargaining process itself.
Makes sense. So Edie hears 45,000, his reaction, do.
Which they translate as, geez. It's like a little exclamation of surprise, maybe slight dismay.
Followed by, harga itu terlalu mahal. That price is too expensive. No beating around the bush there.
Nope. And then comes the counter offer. Kalau 25.000 rupiah bagaimana?
How about 25,000 rupiah? Wow, okay, that's quite a drop from 45.
It is. That's a pretty classic opening move in haggling, isn't it?
Seems like it. You start low.
Exactly. It shows you're serious about buying, but sets a low anchor, leaving plenty of room to negotiate upwards.
So, Sipta's response is also pretty standard, I guess. Enggak bisa mas sedemurah ini.
I can't, brother. This is already cheap. Yep, totally predictable, almost part of the script. And notice the polite mas again.
Right, maintaining that politeness even while disagreeing on price. So Sipta counters Edie's lowball offer.
She does. She suggests 35.000 bagaimana. How about 35,000?
Okay, so she's come down 10,000. Edie then just sort of pauses. He says 30.000, like he's thinking it over.
That little hesitation. Yeah, that can be a tactic too. It signals he's still not quite happy. Maybe he pushes the seller a bit more.
And it works. Sipta comes back with 30.000 ini sebetulnya.
All right, 30,000, here are your shoes. And that's the deal.
That seems important. Like, okay, we have a deal.
Exactly. It's the signal of agreement, the conclusion. And adu earlier showed that initial shock. These little words add a lot of flavor.
They really do. So, okay, that was like a mini play of negotiation. Let's pull out some key vocabulary. We heard ribu a lot.
Yeah, ribu just means thousand. So, 45.000, 45,000. Simple multiplication.
And then the crucial ones, mahal.
Expensive.
And murah.
Cheap or inexpensive. Yeah. These are fundamental, obviously.
You pretty much can't bargain without them.
Right. And the source material gives other examples, like manga ini terlalu mahal. This mango is too expensive, same structure.
Or harga rumah itu murah. The price of that house is cheap. Shows the flexibility.
And what's interesting, is how subjective mahal and murah can be. What's expensive to one person
Might be perfectly fine for another, especially in bargaining. It's part of the push and pull.
Exactly. It's not just a fixed label.
We also saw that word nah used differently in another example. Nah, mari ki yogya.
Right. All right, let's go to yoga. So nah isn't just for closing a deal. It's more like
Okay then, or right then, signaling a decision or a shift.
precisely. Context is key. In the bargaining, it seals the deal. Here, it kicks off an action.
Got it. Now, the source mentioned that these open-air markets are still a really big deal in Indonesia.
Oh, absolutely. They're vibrant parts of daily life, which makes knowing how to navigate them, including bargaining, pretty useful.
So the source kind of lays out a typical flow, doesn't it? Ask the price.
Berapa harga ini rada tutu for this or that?
Suggests a lower price. The vendor might say, Sudah murah, it's already cheap.
Then maybe the vendor gives a counteroffer.
And the buyer might edge their offer up a bit, maybe still saying it's mahal, too expensive.
Yeah, it's like a dance, really. A well-understood routine for both sides.
It feels less confrontational when you think of it that way. Like it's just part of the interaction.
It often is. It's not necessarily about trying to rip someone off either way. It's about finding that price point you can both agree on, often through this bit of back and forth.
Right. The initial price is just the starting whistle.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, let's quickly touch on numbers. We saw prices in the tens of thousands. The lesson mentions hundreds too, using ratus.
Yes, so seratus is 100, duratus 200, up to sembelratus 900.
And then seribu for 1,000, which we already seen in ribu.
Understanding that structure, the number, then ratus or ribu is pretty important.
Because prices are generally high numbers.
Exactly. The source notes you'll mostly deal with hundreds and, much more commonly, thousands of rupiah. So, knowing in Papua Lima ribu is 45 times 1,000 helps keep things clear.
Definitely need to get your head around those zeros. Which brings us to something really fascinating culturally. This idea of the morning price.
Ah, yes. The harga peji, sometimes called. This is a widespread belief, especially in traditional markets.
What is it exactly?
Well, the idea is that the very first sale of the day is incredibly important for the vendor. It's seen as bringing good luck for the rest of the day's business.
So it's not just about the money from that first sale.
Not entirely. It's symbolic. It sets a positive tone and auspicious start. The source even mentions a tradition.
Oh, yeah.
Where vendors might take the money from that first sale and kind of lightly tap or dust their other wares with it.
No way. To spread the luck around.
That's the idea. Symbolically blessing the rest of their stock, hoping for more sales. It's quite a lovely visual.
That's amazing. It really shows how cultural beliefs weave into everyday economic stuff. So, as a buyer, knowing about this, could it actually help you get a better deal?
Potentially, yes. If you're there early, right when the stalls are opening, a vendor might be more willing to accept a slightly lower offer just to secure that crucial first lucky sale.
Get their day off to a good start.
Exactly. It adds this whole other dimension to the timing of your shopping. It's not just about avoiding crowds. It might influence the price.
Fascinating. So it's not just supply and demand, but also belief and tradition influencing the transaction?
Precisely. It makes the whole interaction much richer, I think.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've kind of journeyed through a shoe purchase.
A very specific but very revealing one.
We picked up key phrases, asking the price, saying it's expensive or cheap, the numbers.
Especially getting comfortable with those thousands, the ribu.
Learned the basic steps of the bargaining dance.
The offer, the counter, the sudamura, the final na.
And then discovered this really cool cultural layer with the morning price tradition.
Yeah, understanding that first sale's significance for the vendor adds a lot of context.
It really shows how, language, culture, daily life, economics, it's all tangled together, isn't it?
Completely. Even something as simple as buying shoes isn't just transactional. It's embedded in these cultural practices and beliefs.
So this deep dive gave us a real window into that Indonesian market scene.
Hopefully a useful and interesting one.
Definitely. And it makes you think, doesn't it? What unspoken rules or beliefs might be shaping things in our own local shops or markets? Maybe something to keep an eye out for next time you're bargaining, or even just buying something.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.